Barbudans vote in a by-election, and in sports, TNT senior women beat Guyana to win the CFU Women's Challenge Championships. I'm Ricardo Roberts, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Monday, April 30th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Flying on commercial airlines in the United States has become incredibly safe and reliable. Much safer statistically than driving, probably even safer than being a pedestrian. So it was with a great shock to most everyone this week when news of Southwest Airlines Flight 1380 from New York to Dallas suffered an engine failure resulting in the tragic death of a 43-year-old woman. At approximately 32,000 feet, or roughly 6 miles above land, there was a turbofan failure in one of the engines.
So we've got our 2 packets of unflavored gelatin. Put that in a medium bowl, and then right away add 1 cup of boiling hot water. So we're gonna add 1 cup of cold water. Stir that together, and then finally we're gonna add our can of sweetened condensed milk. Just stir that together until it's well combined, and then leave it at room temperature for about 45 minutes.
Barbudans are today voting in a by-election to fill a position on the Barbuda Council made vacant when the island's lone representative in the lower house of Parliament resigned. Trevor Walker resigned from the council following his victory at the polls last month. The polls in Barbuda opened at 7 a.m. and are expected to close at 6 p.m. Reports are that many Barbadians who have been living in Antigua since the passage of Hurricane Maria last September have gone over to the island to vote. Barbuda, over to another story now, Barbados Culture Minister Stephen Lashley says his Democratic Labour Party remains confident that voters will put the interest of the country first in the May 24th general elections. Speaking to CMC News on the sidelines of the climax of the Reggae Festival on Sunday, Lashley said the party, which has been in office for 2 consecutive terms, has a strong record to defend.
We remain very confident, but we're not arrogant with that confidence. We know that there have been difficult times. Our intention is to go out there and to explain every day to Barbadians why we have made certain decisions. The fact that, of course, having to make those decisions, we did it in the need to protect our economy, to protect our social fabric, and we have not been engaging in the politics of mirrors. We have been engaging in the politics of explanation. We are yet to hear from the Barbados Labour Party what they are going to do in concrete terms. They have made a number of promises that we know is unsustainable. In fact, some of the promises that they have made are the very reasons why in 2008 we inherited an economy that was structurally weak.
Several Caribbean countries have been named in a new report by the International Criminal Police Organization, Interpol, as havens for human trafficking and other crimes. The report was issued today. It lists Barbados, Belize, Brazil, Jamaica and Venezuela among Caribbean and Latin American countries where 350 people were discovered as being possible victims of sexual exploitation and forced labor. 22 arrests were made during a major crackdown on human trafficking in 13 countries this month. The report said men, women and children were discovered working in nightclubs, farms, mines, factories and open-air markets, having been lured across borders by traffickers targeting desperate and vulnerable people with promises of a better life. In a statement, Interpol's Chem Kolq said during the operation they identified women being forced to work out of spaces no bigger than a coffin. Now, according to Interpol, in Guyana, young women were found selling sex next to remote gold mines from which they could not escape. And Trinidad and Tobago's opposition leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, is accusing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley of attempting to incite a holy war in the country. Speaking at her party's interfaith ceremony this weekend, Persad-Bissessar said it seems government is trying to attack the religious bodies. She added that this is an infringement, a direct infringement on the human rights section of the Constitution, which states that every citizen has the freedom of worship and conscience.
As I say, during the carnival, they raided the mosques, the masjids. They want to demolish a Hindu temple. And now in Rodney's area, in Aparima, Church of God, they want to demolish and destroy that. Government has declared holy war upon us. But it is really unholy war that they've declared on the citizens.
Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Football tops our midday sports package. Trinidad and Tobago senior women's football squad whipped Guyana by 3-1 to win the CFU Women's Challenge at the Atto Boldon Stadium on Sunday. Now the goals came off the feet of Shakina Paul, Karen Forbes and Jonelle Cato in what was a tough final with the Guyanese national squad. Now earlier the host had brushed aside Guyana or Grenada by 8-1 on Saturday. TV6's Vinod Nawani has that story.
Trinidad and Tobago faced Grenada in their latest CFU match on Friday at the Atto Boldon Stadium. And in the 12th minute, Karen Forbes scored directly from this corner to give TNT the lead. But there was an error on the part of the home team, which led to Crystal Julian getting the equalizer for Grenada in the 16th minute. After the break, Natasha St. Louis scored from the header and gave TNT the lead once again, and that opened up the floodgates. Then in the 62nd, Liana Hines stretched it to 3-1 in favor of the girls in white. It was getting much easier for the girls from the Twin Island nation, with Alea Prince getting her name on the score sheet in the 65th. In the 68th, Natasha St. Louis with this header notched her second on the night. Then in the 78th, Prince received the perfect through ball and also got a double, 6-1 the score. But she wasn't done. Following some great teamwork with the passes being properly executed, Prince slotted home for a hat-trick on the night for TNT in the 83rd. And in stoppage time, Forbes got a second as well following a blunder on the part of the keeper. This one finished 8-1 in favor of Trinidad and Tobago.
And we'll get more stories concerning the CFU women's football and other action with Jamaica, who played Antigua and Barbuda over the weekend at the Sir Viv Richards Stadium in Antigua. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.